T R I P L E triple helix.
Hello and welcome to another accessibility review. I'm Helix, and today we're going to be looking at a game. Well, actually, it's not a game, it's an app called Virtuoso. It's made by the developers called Really Interactive. And it is really interactive, so the name fits. And this is a music creation app. Now, I know what you're thinking, music creation app in VR. So let me guess, you're going to be like connecting the dots for some blocks, and there might be some flashing lights, and there might also be some music. No, none of that. None of that so-called music sandbox nonsense. This is actual music sequencing and creation, and it has some real potential. And as far as this visually accessibility goes, there's only a few small things that I've noticed that I take issue with. A few very minor things, if you will. Minor things that I couldn't see. Get it? See, minor? Because music is a music joke. Anyway, bad puns aside, let's get on with this review. Alright, before we get into anything, I first want to talk about the UI. Now, to open the menu, you hold either the B button or the Y button on your controllers if you're using a Oculus headset. I'm using a Quest right now, but I do know it's available on other platforms, so I'm not sure what the button is. But in this case, it's this button. The menu here sort of it follows your head, which is kind of weird. It has this sort of billboard effect, I guess is what that's called. And so even though I'm not rotating my wrist or anything, I'm just moving my hand back and forth, and the menu itself rotates. So that makes it kind of hard if you're trying to, say, look at these top tabs, which you can either select by pointing at, which is nice, or there's also, you can use your thumbstick. But if you're trying to actually read those tabs, see, it does that, and you can't, because you're then behind the menu, and it's trying to face the other way. But what I love about this app, and I love when apps do this, you can detach the menu. See, now I'm holding it with the grip button, and you can let it go, and now it's just in the world. So I can move around it, and it stays in its position. I can get as close as I need, and it doesn't move. And also, you can grab it, and you can scale it. And as any blind person knows, bigger is almost always better. So now you can see it's huge. So I can get as close as I need, and the letters are huge with track settings, preferences, tutorials, credits, X, and play. And this is true for all the... Well, there's only one really menu here, but for the instruments and their sort of side menus and settings and stuff like that. We'll open the looper. Just as an example. I'll get into what this actually is in a second, but each instrument has these like info cards, and you can rescale the instruments to as big or as small as you need, which means the info card also scales. So like I couldn't read that normally, but I can get up now and stand next to it and actually read it. And like I said, this is the same for all the instruments. So if I open the drum pads, you got their info card thingy. It also scales. So do the settings on some of the instruments, and like the looper has settings that also scales with the instrument itself. And say if you make it really tiny, or let's just do that, make it really tiny, make it weird. You can always just get rid of it and then you grip instead of using the trigger, and it brings it back at its original size. The one other thing I will say is sometimes since we're here, sometimes the little laser, it's really thin, so it's sometimes really hard to actually hit the button that I'm trying to hit because it's either behind it or like next to it, and you can't really tell. So I don't know if they could make some sort of like almost like this, like a dot, but it larger. Like there's a little dot there, if you can see that. They can make it more noticeable because it doesn't really. Yeah, see, that's not a thing. There's no dot on the top here. Oh, there is on that settings button though. So I don't know. Maybe they just make it more noticeable or larger or like sparkly, something like I think VR chat has that. It's like the dot, the pointer is really sparkly. Okay. So I've been going on and on about the menus and all that. But how does the app actually work? Well, first, let's get your looper. That's the main recording tool of Virtuoso. And it does exactly what it sounds like. Whatever you click record, you play something, and then it loops it over and over. You record something else, and it loops that. And you can sort of individually choose the volume of your tracks. You can mute tracks. You can re-record them. You can group them so you can keep everything nice and organized. But the best way is to really just show you how that works. So let's get some M pads. Those are the drums. So these are basically just drum pads. And each one of them has, I would say they're sort of a category of sound. So this is the bass drum. And you can hold the trigger and you can let's stick with that one. Oh. And what you can do is you can either hit them on the thing, or you can pull them off and you can actually resize these as well. So let's go. Turn that, and it is so I can just barely tap it now, and it will play at full volume no matter what. You can also change the pitch, which is kind of nice if you want to make some more varied sounds. And I just realized I forgot to set a tempo. So let's just do that real quick in the settings. We're going to go with something around 100. 101. 100. There we go. A lot of people in the Virtuoso Discord are going to be super mad that I got that on the second try. Okay. And so a cool thing is too. So this is one of the other issues I sort of had. These little dots to tell you what beat you're on. Those are really hard to see. The controllers don't flash or anything. I feel like they could make it do that or make the counter bigger instead of these tiny little dots. But small thing, because down here we've got haptic rhythm or whatever this is called. Yeah. It's a haptic metronome. So it's going pulse, 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 pulse with each beat. Let's see, make sure all these settings are right. Yeah. So let's get rid of that. Okay, and see now you can see the looper going around because there's an auto setting. I haven't quite figured out how that works though. It'll automatically set your tempo when you play. You can see it goes pulse 2, 3, 4, pulse 2, 3, 4, pulse. So let's actually shorten that loop. Now this is only 1 beat long, so I can just do this. And that's a bit late, so what do? Well, let's turn on tempo sync. So now you can only hit when it's flashing. So that's nice. And oh, I forgot it was recording. So there we go. That we got a beat going. Okay. So we've got that beat. Let's get this one. let's do. You can also, some of the instruments you can separate the, so like this, you can separate the record button from the actual track list. There we go. Just put that back in its position. And you can hit the little X button, or you can just put it back in the drum. So let's see, is this? Nope, we want. There we go. And we'll go ahead and change that to where it's a full. There we go. Okay, and you see it's automatically grouped all this into the drums. So now you can play and pause that all in the same thing, or you can individually. But the cool thing is you can actually pull out these pads, and then you don't have to use a drumstick. It's just because I've got the drums open. But like, say if they were closed, you could just hit it with your hand, or I think you can click it. Maybe not. I thought you could click it. So then this will actually come in later when you want to record a track with the tape recorder, which is basically so you take all your loops, and then you'd hit record, and then you can like do something like this. So you start with that. Let's stop this. And then so this is what you get. So that's how you can sort of put together a proper like arrangement almost. So let's jam it. Let's explore some more instruments. Okay, that's good for that. So let's get a different instrument. Go. That works. Okay. sort of criticism or critique I have of this is that it can be really hard to tell like where the segments are, like because there is no indication except, let's see if I can get it. You can see there's sort of these lines and they go up to where you're playing at. So like if I go up here, see they're all the way at the top. Here they're in the middle. I feel like there should be like at least lines or something, some sort of groove. Like they can keep the slab aesthetic because it looks pretty cool, but maybe like put the lines on the front, or maybe just make them segmented, so that way, you at least know where like each one is, because otherwise you're sort of just guessing, and it would just give you a little more precision. And honestly, that's for everyone. That's not just because of visually impaireds. That's for really anyone. That could help anyone. With the harp, it is kind of hard to judge because it's two-dimensional. So whereas the board, it's got those blocks, so you can sort of judge where your hand is. It's purely based on, can you see the lines in front of your hand, or can you see your hand in front of the lines? And if you're visually impaired, that can kind of be a challenge. But honestly, that's just something I'm just now noticing when I was trying to record a little thing. So yeah, not that big of a deal. It's just something to be aware of. So quickly, I did want to mention, I forgot, there are other environments. So this is the one I like to use because it's pretty clean. It's empty. It makes it really easy to see all the stuff I'm working with, all the instruments. There are these other environments. There's a pass-through environment, which I don't know if you'll be able to see, so I'm not going to switch to it because I don't want you to see in my messy apartment. But there is this one that's really cool, and the lights sort of change with the music. So if I turn the music back on, you can see everything pulses, which is cool. It's a nice environment, but it's just a little bit visually noisy for me. So like, let's say if I'm trying to, I don't know, actually is a perfect example. See, I'm trying to do this, since everything's all like neon colored and stuff. See, like I didn't even see that drum here for a second. Completely forgot it was there. Let's say if I've got though some drums out, the amp pads, I'm trying to do stuff. It's it can just be a bit much to deal with. See, because like that right there, that definitely blends in with the background because it's that sort of neon color, especially if like that was up there. But so then you're relying entirely on like the parallax effect to realize it's not part of the background. So that's just a minor reason, like complaint, that I don't use this environment. It still looks really nice, but for someone who maybe has trouble with like contrast stuff, this environment isn't gonna be the best. But actually, there's another one. It's like this, I don't know what this is, like a forest? And it doesn't appear to have any kind of sync with the beat. We can turn that off, but it's still a nice little area. You got this circle on the ground so you can keep centered in your play space. I think that's the center. Yeah, that's about center where I am. So this area is nice. I still prefer, my favorite is just the clean sort of grid. Gives me sort of Tron vibes of just being on like a infinite plane of digital existence. But yeah, that's the environments. Alright, so that is Virtuoso. It's an amazing app. It has a lot of potential for music creation and actually being able to create like serious music. Right now it's a lot of like electronic style music, but I think there's support for MIDI on desktop at least. I'm playing on the Quest, but you can play it on desktop. It actually is available on, I think it's cross-buy on Oculus Store, and It's available on Steam, and I think the only headsets that aren't supported right now are Windows MR headsets. So I think the Index is supported, and the Vive, and then obviously Oculus, even through Steam. But as far as accessibility goes, I would say I'd give this game, or this app, a solid like 9.5. Like, that's the highest score I've ever given, because all the UI is scalable, all the instruments are scalable. It's easy enough to read once you get it big. There was one small thing at the beginning. Each time you load up the game, it says Virtuoso in big letters, and then it asks you if you want to do the tutorial or if you just want to start playing. There was some weirdness where like it like follows you when you look around, but then when you get really close to it, it was almost like this menu, like it would follow you like that, but then if you'd get close to it, it would start going back and forth really quickly. So I could get close enough to tell what the tutorial button and the start button was, but some people might not be able to do that if they're really visually impaired. But I am severely impaired when it comes to sight, so you might just be fully blind if you're actually worse than me. But anyway, that's Virtuoso. If you want to pick it up, you can get it on, like I said, Oculus. You can get it on Quest, get it on Steam. $20 US, that's about £15. Yeah, definitely pick it up. I recommend it. You can check out their Discord. I'll put a link, hopefully I'll put a link in the description. And they got a great community. They do like jam sessions and stuff. But I think that's all for now. I'm Helix. If you want to see more content, subscribe, give the video a thumbs up. I just realized I don't have thumbs. I can't demonstrate what a thumbs up is. Hopefully you know what that is. Hopefully there's a little button that looks like it. But anyway, that's all for now. See you in the next one.